everybody. It's really lovely to be here with you. I need to tell you, if you've never been before, welcome. If you've been before, welcome. And what are we doing here? Satsang, the ancient Sanskrit word meaning us sitting together in pure authenticity and truthfulness. In other words, an opportunity for us to dispense with the contrivances and the pretenses and the artifice that we generally tend to deploy in our social interactions. We have this wonderful opportunity to meet as pure consciousness, more or less, here. If we were evolved to the next stage, we could do this without any equipment at all. But as it is, we're doing pretty well. And the idea, or the theme rather, not the theme, the format, I'll warm to this in a second, don't worry. I'm just a bit put off by this very orange forehead looking back at me. The format of the satsangs generally go, as per the traditional satsangs that the gurus held and hold in India, was that you would sort of, the teacher would talk for a little while just to set the theme up, and in doing the talking would be inducing a state of relaxation in the listeners, facilitating a collective surrendering to the presence that informs all of us, call it what you will, Tao, God, Buddha, whatever. And then in this particular series, the angle, we're not just emptying ourselves in surrender, we're emptying ourselves in surrender to the great flow of the universe with an intention. And today's intention is to magic your love life, which I'll talk about more in a second. But the idea of magic is an interesting one, because we're not, well, I was going to say we're not talking about conjuring tricks, but really we are at the deepest level, because according to the Taoist mystics, as well as the modern quantum physicists, reality as we know it is really merely a mirror to what we project onto it, and it will then reflect that back at us in all dimensions, and to sort of prove us right, if you like. That's the essence of how magic works. You project with enough clarity your intention into the ether, and then the ether will produce that effect for you in the fullness of time. And the more broadly you can do it, in other words, the less specific you can make it, the more elegantly the Tao, the Great Way, seems to perform its tricks for you. Everything manifest is considered to be a trick of the light. Nothing is as it appears. It doesn't mean that nothing exists. Everything exists, but none of it exists as we perceive it, because everything we perceive through the filter of our own belief system, and each of us is different and individual in our belief system, but miraculously we seem to more or less agree most of the time with most of the people on a collective version of reality that we can sort of more or less comfortably subscribe to most of the time. And the upheavals and dramas and melodramas that occur in the world, some of them quite horrific, generally result from those versions of reality not actually meshing in various areas at various times. Now we're going to be talking about magicking your love life today, and we're going to do a ritual. I trained in, trained is a bit of a formal word for it. I was schooled in the basis of Taoist magic by a wonderfully beautiful man called William the Beauteous Master in Hong Kong when I was 19. And I wasn't interested personally in the actual Taoist rituals, which to me are all kind of the same, pretty much mumbo-jumbo, hocus-pocus as any occult system or religion. It's not my thing. And what appeals to me about Taoism is it's relatively free, or it's actually totally free in its pure form of dogma, mumbo-jumbo and hocus-pocus. It's very straightforward. It works on basic principles, immutable principles, which are part of a cosmology, which you embody in your body and in your actions, and so that you're kind of living the philosophy. You're actually experiencing it viscerally. And magic really means to conduct the flow of energy of which you are a part, but which is susceptible to your direction. It likes you to direct it towards a certain goal or outcome. The art here, and this is something that does take, well, in my experience, takes years to, I was going to say perfect, but I don't know about perfecting it because I haven't ever done that yet. But at least to get some kind of handle on, so that you get the sense of the game that you're playing. It takes a lot of practice to get the intention clear. And quite often I'm very unclear about actually what my intention is. And when you're unclear, you get a kind of jumbled effect. When you're clear, you get a very clear effect. So the real art here is getting clear on the intention. Once the intention is declared clearly to yourself in the presence of the Tao, if you like. So when you declare your intention at the deepest level of your consciousness to the primordial consciousness of which you are part, to the continuum of which you comprise a crucial aspect, it automatically, instantaneously sets in motion a chain of events which will inevitably lead to you experiencing that very outcome. The outcome will generally not look like you expected it to, and at first often you won't even recognize it as the outcome you were intending. Sometimes it's a bit occluded. That's kind of part of the game of hide and seek that the Tao enjoys to play for theatrical purposes. But it will always deliver exactly what it is that you intended, and generally, in my experience, far more elegantly and eloquently than if you, as an individual, were left to contrive the result yourself. Now, this is particularly sensitive when we're talking about our love lives, because love lives are laden with so many, how do you put it, prejudices, preconceptions, most of which are garnered as children from observing, watching on TV or in movies, reading books, listening to people's stories, what is generally a fantasy of somebody else. So the Hollywood romance model and the happily ever after fairy tale model, these were fantasies of somebody. And albeit that they struck a chord, a general chord, nonetheless are fantasies. I'm not saying that they can't come true, and they often do, at least for a while in certain ways, but they are fantasies of other people. And to be able to strip your urge for a beautiful love life of all of the spurious, subjective overlay is really important to get to the very essence of what it is you actually want, kind of why you actually want it, really. And I'll explain why. Every yearning that we have, and I think it's pretty common, universally common, that everyone pretty much has a yearning most of the time to connect in intimacy with another. Some people dress this up as the other, the one. Some people make a huge deal out of it. Other people, it's really quite light-hearted and just for fun. Different times in your life, it will be different things, and so on and so forth. The yearning, though, whether it's last week we worked on wealth creation, I hate that expression. We worked on channeling money. I hate that expression. We worked on magicking your money up so that everybody gets a greater flow of money. Interestingly, the very next day, the news was filled with the fact that the UK and the US economy have had a major noticeable uplift. It's coincidental. It was coming anyway. It's not, we didn't make that happen. I'm not deluded. But it was a lovely sign. It was a lovely echo saying, yeah, you're on the right track here. I would also suggest that, albeit I've had some amazing feedback from people saying that they've already started seeing signs of increased wealth in their lives, the effects of this stuff really seem to take about 90 days. That's traditional Taoist wisdom. When you set something in motion, it seems to take 3 months for it to come to resolution. It can happen quicker. It might happen slower, but generally within 3 months you've hit that next stage that you were looking for, if not the full-blown result. But whether it's money or whether it's love life, which are the two things most people generally want, if you're working in the self-help industry, the two things that people really want the very, very most that come up the top of the list every time are money and love. It's the same if you go to psychics, they'll tell you the same thing. That's what people think they want anyway, but really what we're all looking for, that we think we're going to find in money, that we think we're going to find in our love lives being fulfilled, is coming home. It's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to come home to the Tao within them. Everybody wants to feel the deep, unshakable, unwavering inner peace and confidence that you are where you're meant to be, that you belong where you are, that the universe, the Tao, God, loves you with all its heart and soul and might, that it only wants your highest good, that it's not playing tricks on you, and that you are not alone. Because loneliness is probably the biggest disease there is. And loneliness derives from a dodgy relationship, not with another person, but with yourself, with your Tao, with the primordial consciousness and energy that informs you at the deepest level. Because once you come home to that inside, it's impossible to feel lonely again. Apart from anything else, it's just basic common sense. If you open your awareness up so that you're not living blinkered, you are on a planet with 7 billion plus people. It's impossible to actually feel lonely. The problem is that we seek our succor, our spiritual succor, our emotional succor, our psychological succor, our intellectual succor from other people. And we do that erroneously and in vain. Yes, other people will satisfy the urge for completion of the soul momentarily, but not permanently. It's not possible. And we get hooked on these external factors: money, success, people, love life, friendship, social life, belonging to clubs, certain activities, thinking that we're going to get the juice out of them. And we do. We get a superficial juice out of them, but nothing external, nothing manifest can actually produce the sensation of unshakable peace. It's impossible, not permanently. The only thing that can do that is rearranging your relationship with your own self. And the Taoist approach is rather unique in that it focuses on referencing your process of becoming yourself. It references that to what's going on in your body. Your body becomes the arena in which you are conducting your experiment with reality, if you like. And we're going to work on that today. So we're going to shift the positioning of ourselves within our skins to back into the background presence, which is another name for the Tao, the subatomic level of reality that informs the manifest realm, which can be located in the back of you, literally, although it's metaphorical. By sinking into your own back, you are then the background presence that's bearing witness to you living your life, that's actually bearing witness to the whole universe living its life. And by adjusting the energy in particular ways within, you align yourself to the deepest, most subtle, but most powerful flow of manifesting power, creating power. Like the universe is creating itself constantly. The Tao is creating all of this constantly. And we align ourselves to that flow. Now, when we're talking about love life, I would like to talk about it in that context so that we're not looking to making a shift to change the way we feel. What we're looking to do is change the way we feel, and then the shift will occur as a result of that. So what I would like to really make happen here today, so you can say I've tricked you a little bit, but I haven't, because we're going to get the other result as well, is to realign you fully, realign all of us fully with the true power within, wherein we will all feel that sense of completedness within ourselves, that sense of being at home, of being connected to all and everyone that is. Therefore, not lonely, not possible to get lonely. And the more you practice this on your own on a regular basis, the less lonely you'll feel. The less lonely, the less incomplete you feel, the less you need the other to complete you. So if you're looking for somebody, or you're in a relationship with somebody and they're not kind of satisfying your idea of what you need, or you're looking for someone to satisfy your idea of what you need, if you're complete in yourself, the person that or the people that you'll draw to yourself will be complete as well. They'll reflect that. That's how this game, this Hall of Mirrors game works. They'll come bearing the reflection of you in your completion. And it's impossible to predict what will result from that, but the chances are a very healthy, productive, enjoyable, growthful, nurturing partnership for as long as it's meant to last. That's another thing. We none of us can ever predict or dictate how long a situation is going to last. The force of destiny, the law of cause and effect, is just too powerful, and nobody understands how cause and effect works, because it started billions of, for at least 14 to 16 billion years ago. The process. So, and the whole idea of ancestral lineages and ancestral karma, let alone past life karma and all the rest of it, and let alone the karma of this lifetime and the chains of cause and effect that have been set in motion this lifetime for you and the other, make the factors so variable that it's impossible to dictate the length of a relationship. And the idea that a relationship is successful only if it goes on until you both die or one of you dies is also possibly a little bit limiting, and not necessarily a healthy one to subscribe to, even though it's the conventional one. At the fundamental level, everyone that we interact with because our souls bring us together to help each other transform, to grow into the fullness of ourselves. And if you're well divorced from your Tao, if you're really stuck in the external world, the person will come along to reflect that to you. There'll probably be a massive, I've been here myself enough times in the old days, there'll be a massive passionate explosion of desire and love and excitation, and then disappointment and letdown and all the rest of it, a very painful breakup, and you'll be left in this state of shock, heartbreak as we usually call it. The only antidote to which is actually coming back into the relationship with yourself, and you will grow through that. Ideally, hopefully, I mean, as we become more one with ourselves, these episodes possibly won't have to be so dramatic. They could become smoother. But nonetheless, we do come together with people to help each other transform. And I'm not suggesting we do that at cognitive. We're not going to, hey, baby, I'm coming here to help you transform. It's not about that. We can't help it. It just happens. People look amazing and you get attracted to them and you think they're incredible, and then you get to know them and they start irritating you, they start rubbing you up, they start pressing your buttons, and then that's what you've got to work on. And working on that one way or the other through pleasure or pain or surrender or resistance will be the medicine you need to help you grow. And then too, it might take the next relationship with the next person to really fulfill it or make it come alive. We never can tell. The whole thing's a really huge mystery. So I'm saying all this as a caveat, really, because what we're about to do is going to be pretty powerful. The chances are it will alter the warp and weft of your life and who's in it, who your co-star or co-stars are going to be in a short while from now. And I think it's important that we go into it with our eyes open. I don't know where you're at. Obviously, I don't know what you want, because there's 200 people from all over the world here. Bless you all for being here. I don't know where you're at. You might be on your own and looking for someone to come in or someone's to come in. You might be in a relationship that's gone stale and you don't know how to reignite it, and you really want to reignite it and you don't know how to get through to the other. You might be in a relationship that's gone stale where you're thinking, actually, maybe it would be better if somebody else came along, or if I was on my own, and you don't really know how to do that. For example, I don't know, there's so many different variations on the theme of what everybody might want. As I say, the fundamental desire, without you knowing it probably, is the desire to come home to yourself. And then the drama of all the interactions with everybody, whoever they are, lessens. It all becomes a lot quieter and smoother. Now, you might think that's boring, life without drama. Actually, it's much more interesting, I find. The less the drama makes a noise, the more amazing the whole thing seems to become. Because then you're looking at the real story going on, the real drama of the universe unfolding, which is, I think, somewhat more interesting than the silly little dramas that we concoct in our own lives. But that's just me. So I'm going to do my very best to ad-lib my way through a ritual based on the Taoist magic principles that will, if you are on your own and want to attract someone into your life, will enable you to do that that if you're with somebody that you want to reignite the passion in the relationship with, it will either do that or it will cause a shift that's needed so that someone else can come in. We can't really dictate this stuff. Or at least we'll set up a healing dynamic in the dialogue between you so that you can re-establish the friendship love between you. Because aside from the desire, aside from the projections and the movies that we're creating in our heads about people, aside from sexual frisson and anything that goes along with that, even aside from all notions of romance and romantic gestures, the real love is the love between two people. It's the love between two souls. And that love is really unconditional. That's the love that only wants the happiness and highest good of the other. It's a love that doesn't want to possess, that possessing others is an anathema to it. It really just wants to set free and let the other be as big as they possibly can be. It might even seem that that's at the expense of your own happiness, but that will only be short-lived, of course, because then your reward will be greater happiness afterwards. The real love is the love of fully letting the other be and wishing well for them. And the path to liberation in any stuck situation is loving more, never less, always loving more. And that's not desiring more. I'm talking about, it's not even adoring more. It's just loving more. It's just being open in the heart to the other and surrounding them with warmth and safety and just wishing well for them. Because ultimately that's the gift that we can bring each other. That's the greatest gift, the greatest joy that we can bring each other is that. I hope I've somehow expressed myself succinctly and clearly enough to cover at least most of the bases here. Would you now like to get ready and enter into a more meditative state, by which I mean, if you can shuffle about in your seat a little bit and until you attain optimal comfort, ideally leaning back against the back of a chair, ideally both feet flat on the floor. Get the feeling that you don't have to cramp yourself anymore. So if somebody said, hey, you don't have to cramp yourself anymore, you can expand yourself now as big as you want to be. That's the next stage. You might want to close your eyes for this bit, albeit there is this lovely romantic slideshow going on that Sue's prepared on the screen here. Ironically, this is really a good moment to close your eyes and just allow the changing images on the screen to provide a sort of color massage over your eyelids. And get the feeling that the crown of your head, and by the crown of your head I mean, you know, the tonsure where the monks used to shave their hair in a circle to reveal the rear fontanelles. I mean that rather than the very highest point of the head. That part of you, as if you'd had a skull cap, but somebody had cut all the hair underneath and then there was no skull cap anymore, just that area, that bit there. Imagine that bit is urging itself kind of upwards and slightly backwards, and that's causing your spine to lengthen somewhat. It's causing your spine to get longer, so that there's less crumpling going on. You're a longer person now. Imagine also that you're an angel, just for the sake of metaphor, and your wings, which would be two huge wings to get you airborne, are attached to your shoulder blades, one to each shoulder blade, and the weight of the wings is enough to cause your shoulder blades your shoulders to drop and the whole shoulder girdle to broaden out. Imagine that just below your thymus gland at the top of the chest and just above your heart center in the middle of the chest, there's an invisible plate of armor. And it's a beautiful magical plate of armor that enables you to soften your heart while being protected, so that you don't need to keep that closed up feeling in the heart to prevent future pain. You've got an invisible plate of armor there now, a magical one, that allows you to relax your chest completely behind it. And bang in the middle, between thymus and heart, is this kind of crest, a kind of a, what do you call those things? The, crest on your armor, like a herald, a heraldic crest, which is sort of urging itself diagonally forwards and upwards in a gesture of you rising up to all that is beautiful, including the very essence of love between two people. So your breastplate, your crest in the center of your, just above the center of your breastplate, is urging itself diagonally upwards in front of you. And it gives you a kind of noble bearing when that happens. To support all this, let your hips slide away from each other. Stop holding your hips together just for the time being. And let your sit bones be further apart from each other. So you've got a good broad base to sit yourself on. At the same time, feel your feet connecting with the floor. And get a sense of allowing all the weight in your body, the considerable weight of your head, your chest, your shoulder girdle, and so on, to drop down, also the weight of your spine, which is really quite a lot, to drop down lower than the level of your belly button and fill up in the lower part of you and in your legs, so that the lower part of you feels rather rooted to the ground, while the upper part of you feels weightless and free. And now if you can let your breath go, so stop holding the breath, which is something people habitually do without realizing, and let the breath flow freely, in and out, in and out. Each breath cycle is an act of devotion to the divine presence. The out breath is like you're offering, you're saying thank you to the Tao for the life that has come up until now, for everything that has come before this point in time. And the in-breath is you receiving the gift of life from the Tao. The next breath is the next waft of life coming into you with all the possibilities. Of course, at some point, this process will stop on its own at the point of dropping the body, while you are able to engage in this process of breathing through life. It's a wonderful thing to indulge in. So indulge the sensation of breathing as if using some fine, rare elixir. And believe me, if you were scouting the universe for some amazing life elixir and you stumbled across this little planet here and you noticed the breathing thing that people were doing, you would be thinking, that is the one, that's the one, I've got to have it. So really value the breath as you breathe in and you breathe out. Slow the breathing down and let the breath be silken and soft and smooth and silent, and that causes your mind instantly to become slower, more balanced, more flowing, softer, smoother, and more silent. It's got a nicer tone in there. And talking of your mind, which is usually held in the front of the brain because of its fascination with what's going on in front of you, give your mind a bit of a rest by allowing your mind to sink back to the back of your head. Tilt your head back a little bit, just a millimetre or so, as a gesture, and get the sense of your mind sliding slowly backwards along the floor of your skull as if it were in a cave, until it's leaning up against the rear wall of the skull on a lovely pile of sumptuous, brightly hued, beautifully made cushions, you looking like a little Buddha, leaning up against the rear wall of the skull. So you're now watching operations from back here. And you notice as you do, you gaze into the space between and behind your eyes, and you're looking into infinity through the mouth of the cave. And it feels really nice in here. It's silent. You notice that. There's no noise in the front of the brain now. Everything has become silent. This is the true meaning of meditation, incidentally. That's what we're doing. Now, as this is all going on, watching from the rear of your brain as you're breathing in and breathing out, the body nicely expanded, you can afford to relax and soften all the muscles in your body. The more you relax and soften the muscles, the more the force of life, the Tao emotion is able to flow freely through you. And the more this energy of which you are part of, the continuum it comprises, flows freely through you, the more it flows in the events of your life. So scan your body from head to toe, and wherever you spot any unnecessary rigidity, just say to it, come on, let go, soften up, relax. Let go, soften up, relax. Come on, let go, soften up, relax. And let this relaxation effect spread right down to your toes, your fingertips, to every single part of you. And not just through the muscles, but let it pass through all your organs, let it pass through your bowels, let it pass through your blood vessels and through your nerves, and through all the fluids in your body, and through your bones and through your bone marrow, till the entirety of your physical form, including your brain and your sense organs, is completely and utterly soft and relaxed. It doesn't mean you've gone floppy. It doesn't mean you become paralyzed or ineffective. It's quite the opposite. You've now actually opened yourself to the flow of chi, which gives you superhuman power. When you watch an accomplished martial artist, boxer, dancer, or whatever, in the throes of activity of their action, you'll notice that they are soft in the muscles rather than rigid. It gives you more effectiveness. So you're now actively relaxed as opposed to collapsed. Quite an important distinction. Now comes the big trick, which is that you get the sense, if you just sort of lean back a bit physically as a gesture, and in doing that, along with your mind being in the back of your skull, get the sense of your whole person, your presence, shifting into the back of you. So you're all up in the front of you because, as I say, it's engrossing what's going on in front of you, and it draws you forward. You get all tense, you get all mixed up in all the emotions and so on. What we're doing now is coming right back inside. So you lean back against your own shoulder blades, your hip bones, the front of your spine. You've already got your mind leaning back against the rear wall of the skull. And you sit back inside, just literally sit back all the way inside. You'll notice as you do that, and you become comfortable with it, that the front parts of you becomes quieter immediately. And now you are in command of what's going on in the front of you. You'll notice that you've actually doubled your depth, because initially you were up in the front of you. There was just the front of you. There was no back. It's almost hard to feel the back most of the time unless it was hurting or so on. Now you're in the back of you. You've gained the front as well. So there's double of you. You become more substantial, more powerful as well, at least twice as powerful. Now, the tension in your solar plexus, where you process all the information of life, is yours to command. Now, we generate tension in the solar plexus for many reasons, but one of them is that it makes us feel alive, to have that intensity there. We'll try reducing the intensity of the solar plexus tension a little bit now. Just sort of imagine a dial and turn the dial down 10% or whatever, and see if you feel as alive. You probably will feel even more alive with less of that tension there. And you start to get that lovely warm feeling in the upper belly, a bit like you're drunk on whiskey, where everything feels good. Life feels good when that's relaxed. Like, that's one of the big keys to feeling good. When that's relaxed, you feel good. The chest, as we were saying before, has got this invisible armor in front of it that it's not in your body, and it enables your heart area to relax. You're safe now. So take a moment to slide the two halves of the breastplate, as it were, apart from each other like a pair of sliding doors, to reveal at the very core of your chest the beautiful flower of you, the unique essence that is you in all your gorgeous beauty. No one else has this particular mix. Only you, your own beauty. And the world is a painful place at times, and we learn very young to stop radiating that beauty for fear of people doing wrong with it. Well, we're safe here. We're in good company, and you've got your plate of armor in front. So this is a perfect time to take that armoring away and just allow your beauty, the gift of your soul, to radiate from your heart center outwards freely, to start with everybody in the satsang. So we have people here from pretty much every time zone on the planet. Allow your love to radiate all the way around the world, to touch everybody that's in here. And imagine that activating the love in everybody in here, causing it to radiate to everyone in here, but also to everyone they know, and you radiating your love to everyone you know. And then it's so strong that without those people realizing it, they're radiating that love to everyone they know. And however many degrees of separation it actually is, before very long, every single person on the planet, right here, right now, regardless of what they're up to, how naughty or good they are, how wonderful or horrible they are, how beautiful or ugly they are, how whatever they're doing, doesn't matter what, everyone on this planet right now is being touched with love. And that's important because it's in this milieu that we're now going to do our magic to draw, to start with, the person that is due to come into your life next. And then I think we'll do the adaptation for people who are already in a relationship, who want to do some magic in that relationship. So here you are sitting back inside, and I'd like you to continue that feeling, just sink back further even, and further. And imagine that as you sink back further, you're building a bit of a backward momentum. Taoists call this the backward flowing motion. It makes you younger as you get older. And pushing back, back, until it's like when you were a kid at school, when you were leaning back in your chair too far and you actually fell over and everyone laughed. This time you're pushing back so far that you actually feel yourself burst out through your own back. And as you burst out through your own back, you become instantly much larger. This is what you might call the spirit body, the presence, the background presence, or the shadow self is sometimes called. The bit that you're generally not aware of, you've now given space to. And now you're free out the back of you. You're really large. And just allow yourself to flow backwards a bit in space, just to kind of go on a little bit of a ride and lose the attachment to the physical realm for a moment. Just get a sense of your spirit body flying backwards through space at a prodigious speed, going faster as it goes farther and farther as it goes faster, exponentially more and more, until you're whizzing so far and far backwards through space that eventually, and as you do, getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, till there's almost actually nowhere else to go because you've got the whole universe inside you. And then just sink back. Just sink back and you get the sense of you're now leaning back into the armchair of the universe. The Tao has provided this massive, massive throne for you. And you're nothing fancy, just a really comfortable, well-designed one. And you're leaning right back into it, right in the very, very depths of the universe, where you now have the power. You now have the power to manifest anything you want. To activate this power, press your tongue firmly up onto the roof of your mouth. As you do this, observe from the very back of your skull, which is now way back in inner space, and you'll notice that there's a subtle but definite line of energy connecting the top of your forehead with your heart. It runs down through behind your face, through your tongue, and into your heart area. Now, as soon as you activate this line by pressing the tongue on the roof of the mouth, you become in command of your own destiny. So press the tongue up onto the roof of the mouth. As you do, feel that activate a line of energy from the crown, from the center of the top of the forehead down to the center of the heart. This is very powerful technique. You've now activated your ability to take command of your own destiny. Now, with the clear proviso that what you're about to ordain, to give rise to, will be by the free will of whomever it may affect, and only for their highest possible good. So that what you do now is in no way going to entrap anybody. Because if you do entrap anybody, it's actually winds up generally being you that gets entrapped. Forget about good and bad magic. It's not so crass as that. It's just foolish or wise magic. So magic that entraps people is generally foolish and ends in no good for anyone. But magic that sets people free is wise magic. So you're doing this now with the proviso that whomever you draw into your orbit, you do so with their total free will and only for their highest good. Firstly, be aware that all the inadequacies that you think you have, all the gaps you really believe you have in your life, all the emptinesses and all the deficiencies are an illusion. You were born as a representation of the Tao itself, utterly complete, imperfect like the Tao itself. Really, everything is imperfect, but a beautiful representation of what life is. So you are not missing anything. There is nothing missing in you. Any belief that something's missing is an illusion. So I would like you just to get the sense that in the fullness of yourself, in the universe, you're popping into all aspects of you. It's like a pop, 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 pop. So there's no deficiency of you anywhere. You are filling yourself fully. There is no deficiency, no gap. So that who you draw now will also be like that. There'll be no gap. They won't be coming to you needing anything because you don't need anything. You're already home. Your life is beautiful. To improve your love life, all you have to do is love life. That's it. Love life. And this is how you love it, from all the way back here. Just love being. Love the universe being. Love the ferocity of it, the beauty of it, the ugliness of it, the smelliness of it, the fragrance of it, the yin and the yang of it. You just love all of it. Love being here. And you don't need anyone to make that better. All you do is be here right now, complete in yourself. As I was saying, there are approximately 1,000 people that would be compatible and suitable for you, some slightly more than others perhaps. This is talking of, if you take all the geographic, social, cultural, and so on factors, there's probably, of all the people on the planet, all the people of the gender that you're interested in, there'll probably be approximately 1,000 that would be okay. And what you're doing now is you are sending out a message from your soul, from the very depths of you, the background presence sitting all the way back here in the depths of the universe. So all those 1,000 right now. It might be a bit more, it might be a bit less. It sounds like a big multitude of lovers to have, and I'm not suggesting that. This is like the primary auditions. You send out the invitation, and you say to the soul of all of them, you can see them like a huge circle all around you. And you say to them, of all of you, whoever, or you say welcome first of all, it's an honor to connect with you, an honor to our ancestral lineages and whatever chain of cause and effect has brought us together. I invite whoever of you feels the draw of compatibility, feels the resonance most clearly, to step forward one pace. And then you notice that there's probably about 50 of them have stepped forward. You politely say thank you to the other 950 or whatever it is and say, please, peace be with you, enjoy yourselves, maybe we'll hook up another time or another lifetime, bless you, bye. And then you're left with about 50, 49, 50 lovers, prospective lovers, who are all potentially wonderful for you. And you say to all of these, bless you all for being in my orbit here. Out of all of you, I'd like to step forward, any of you who really feels such a strong resonance with me that it actually feels hard to resist. And out of that, you'll probably get about 3 or 4 will step forward. You say thank you to all the others, and you let them go with grace. You wish them well. Bless you all. Have a beautiful time. We'll reconnect some other time, maybe in some other way. Bless you. Bye-bye. And then you've got your 3 or 4. These are like your, what do you call them, the short list. And you say to them, we are all with great resonance, and it's possible that we could all have an amazing, you could all be my lovers. For now, however, well, you might want more than one. I don't know. I can't dictate that. But, just for the sake of simplicity, because you can always do this ritual again, or we can always do it again, say to the 3 of them, out of you 3 or 4, one of you, there is one of you. And you already know there's already that one is smiling at you. You don't know what they look like. You might have some kind of fanciful vision, or it might be an intuitive vision of what they look like, but you don't know what they look like. You only know their soul essence. You can feel it. But that one steps forward. Now, it doesn't matter whether you can visualize or imagine a face. If you don't have to, it's not about that. Try not to. Try just forget about physical appearance right now. Forget about physical form. Forget about all the usual nonsense that we ascribe such significance to in life, just for the moment. And just tune in to the essence of this being. This is someone who quite likely you bumped into lifetime after lifetime for eons. There's a sense of recognition. Maybe it's you come from the same soul group, maybe you come from the same ancestral lineage or compatible ancestral lineages, perhaps you come from the same planet groups, who knows what it is, that somehow there's a resonance between you. And just take your time to sit in their orbit and them in yours. See them approximately 6 feet, 2 meters away from you, sitting in front of you. Again, don't try and see a form. Just know that they're there as an essence. And feel your heart open, really open, wide, and allow, you know, you've got your protection there, so you can't, it's like a filter. It won't allow you to be hurt. Allow the feeling of love between your two chests to connect, so that you have a stream of energy. If you like colors and visualizations, make the energy stream rose gold, beautiful, rich rose gold, warm, and give it a beautiful fragrance. Some really lovely, beautiful, sophisticated fragrance of love. Just something otherworldly that's remarkable. And feel the connection like a cylinder of light that passes between your two chests. And as you do that, you'll notice that the distance between you is shortening to the point where it hardly feels that there is any distance between you. It almost feels like you become one being, but not quite. And there's this wonderful sensation between your two chests of love. And you have time now. This is an audition, remember, to start with. You have time to acclimatize to the sensation and see, do you like it? Do they like it? Does it feel good to both of you? And the chances are that, having gone through the selection process, it probably does feel jolly good indeed. Now become aware of your lower center, the dantian in the abdominal area, the lower abdominal area, below the belly button, sort of between there and the pelvic floor, that whole lower center that deals with your sex and desire, which is a crucial part of it, as you know. And feel the connection occur between there and the same center in them. And see if it's a strong one. See if it's a strong one. See what it's like. At least it needs to be somewhere over the 51% mark in terms of strength. Just see if it's somehow there. See if there's a resonance on that sexual level with them as well. If it feels comfortable, does it feel appropriate? Does it feel compatible? Is the smell right somehow? The subtle smell? Are the pheromones the right match? Get that sense. Because this is the one that you've drawn to you now. And it does feel okay. You know, that nothing is perfect. No one is perfect. Nothing in form is perfect. And yet the energy that you're feeling is perfect enough. That's what you want. At least 51%. It feels strong enough. It feels comfortable enough. It feels warm enough. It feels nurturing enough. Feel that sensation. Again, you don't know who they are. You don't know their identity, but you've got their essence. You can feel their essence. And this process is just really a bonding process. It's making the heart area feel warmer too, you notice. Now come up to the upper center, which is the center of the brain area, and feel a connection like that same stream, that circular, cylindrical rather, stream of energy from the center of your brain to the center of theirs. The one down below, by the way, the one in your lower abdominal area, could be like a ruby color with gold, like really quite sparky and powerful. This one up here is like white gold. This one that goes from center brain to center brain is like white gold, and it's the pure transmission of consciousness, the higher level, the spirit level, the ethical level of the person, their decency, their character, their nature, and feel what that feels like. How is this mutual transmission and reception feeling, the energy between your two center brains? And notice that there's strong in the heart, strong in the belly, and strong in the center of the brain area. Strong connection with the essence of this person, the soul that you're drawing to you. And you say, in your own words to them, like, it's an honor to know you. It's an honor to be in your orbit. Aside from the rational part of my mind going, oh, this is just a load of old imaginary nonsense, I am feeling the essence here of you. I know you exist. I know you're on the planet. The chances are, because you're one of the 1,000 that fits the bill one way or another, you're somewhere close by or within reasonable distance of me. And so it's not an impossibility. This isn't imaginary. This isn't some fantasy. Here you are. Here's your essence. I know how this magic stuff works. I set my intention, and reality shifts to make it come true. So I know that you're here, and I honor this. This is powerful. Bless you for being here. Now, what I have to give to you is my love, my acceptance, my joyfulness, my power, my support, my humor, my talents, my skills, my everything, my enthusiasm. You list it for yourself. This is what I have to give to you, to the essence of this one that you're talking to. Tell them what you have to give to them. And see the reaction, whether they receive all of that. That seems to suit them. And tell them now what you want from them. Now, the more contained you are, the less you'll want, really. It'll just be their decency, their love, their excitement, their animal power, whatever it is that you want. Tell them what you're wanting from them. What you want to receive fully with good grace from them. It might be very simple. It might be just your essence, your presence. And see if this is still feeling resonant with them and you. See if you're both feeling the connection. It might have got a little bit broken by stating your demands. Maybe you picked the wrong person. It's very unlikely, though. This probably is the right one. This is probably the one who is coming in next. Usually is. See if it's really feeling that way. And if those three cylindrical connections of energy are still feeling pretty strong, and you're still feeling connected to the person in front of you, say to them something along the lines of, come on, welcome, come into my life whenever you're ready. I'm really up for it being in the next month, 2 months, 3 months, or even sooner, or it could take a bit longer if you want. No rush, my life is beautiful. I'm going to be continually increasing that sense of my life being beautiful. I don't need you to come in. I don't need your support. I just want to share the beauty, the joy, the bliss of being that I have anyway. I want to share my being at home with you being at home, etc., etc., whatever it is. I don't want to put ideas in your mind. And draw them closer and embrace them. Actually visualize yourself kissing them. Visualize yourself in the deepest French kiss with them. Visualize yourself, if you want to take it all the way, making love with them. Sitting up, though, not lying down here. Stay awake. So you're sitting, embracing each other. You might go all the way in this visualization. Just get as close as you possibly can and make the connection. Feel it with them. Remember, don't put a face on it. Do whatever you can to keep it free and neutral. Just be with the essence of this person. And in this, there's this sped up process. There's some kind of consummation, some kind of fulfillment and connection, the fulfillment of the connection. And then you kind of separate a bit. You put your hand on their heart. You feel them put their hand on your heart. And you hold each other steady for a minute. And you something along the lines of telling each other, it's going to be beautiful when we meet. It's going to be a delight. I'm opening myself to this. How wonderfully exciting. I vow to have no false expectations. I vow to override all my childish, silly complexes and daft demands that are based on Hollywood movies that weren't really in the first place. I vow to let go of anything that is nonsense and isn't real. And I vow to come to you and allow you to come to me in our full, true nakedness of spirit, so with the full gift for each other. And then just let them go. Bless you. I look forward to seeing you in my life in real time very soon. See them feel the same, somehow gesture the same to you, and come back into your own space. Now, for the people who are in a relationship who want to make it really work, the same. You're in the background presence of you. You're really big. You know who the person is that you're talking to, that you need to negotiate with in this instance. So you connect to their background presence. You see them sitting in front of you. You feel their big background presence. And you just say, I wish for this to be whatever it can be, to be as beautiful for both of us as can possibly be, more beautiful than either of us can imagine, to transcend all limitations that we're perceiving to be in the way, and to both grow in our love for ourselves, for each other, for life, and make just amazing things come as a result of this. I open myself to that. And see what happens. See how they're responding to that. Are they open to that? Are they coming to you? All three senses connecting. If the answer is yes, because of course you can't force them, feel the connection in those three centers. Really bond with them. Hold them to you. The higher self, the bigger self, the background presence. Really hold them to you. Feel that connection and say, whenever your local human self is ready to play this with me, play this out with me, I'm here and available. And I give you, with all good grace, give you all the space you need to come here in your own time. If you've noticed that the essence of the person that you were talking to was someone other than your current primary partner, and you were making that connection with them, as your answer, that's what's going to happen. I just have not any moral issues in any of this at all. Everybody's free to do exactly what they want to do as far as I'm concerned. The only thing that I wish is that everything is done for the highest good of everybody, so that whatever results from this slightly ramshackle all over the place ritual, excuse me for that, the phone thing, the internet thing completely threw me, whatever happens, it will be that everybody comes away from it bigger and better, more beautiful, more healed, that whoever you meet, whoever you draw into your life, whoever it is you're with or going to be with, the result of it is something just so beautiful and transformative in a positive way, that brings you synergy, that redoubles or doubles or quadruples the joy you're already feeling of being here in the universe, and that amazing things occur as a result. And that ultimately, though, wherever and whoever and whatever it is, the real deepest result is your friendship, your love affair with you grows from this moment exponentially, so that when you come off this meditation, you do so feeling so huge in your heart, so full of love for you, and therefore for everyone around you, and therefore magnetic to the love of everyone around you, that it's all you can do not to hop and skip down the road, naked even, shouting barefoot as a brick, or whatever words occur to you. Whoa. I wish this now just for everybody in the world. Wish everyone to feel that joy for a moment. Just wish it for everyone. Like, we're all connected. We're all just different faces of the same presence, even the biggest arsehole. So send this love now, send this joyfulness to everybody, that even the most twisted fuckers on the planet, send it to everybody without exception. Let it heal without judgment. Just let it heal for a moment. Let everyone on the planet be healed with the blanket of this magic love we've summoned. And then in your own time, feeling that power of the background presence, bring it back in through the back of your body, tame it for a moment, let it tame down, and let it sit firmly in the back of you. The front of you is under your command. You're breathing, everything's good, you're relaxed, you're energized, you're powerful, you're in charge of your own destiny. Anything can happen now, and definitely will. Something amazing is definitely coming. Have that as your joyful anticipatory energy that's going on throughout your being. And in your own time, this is the time to slowly open your eyes and come back into the waking state, and we'll have time for some questions. Not too many, but some.
Hi Stephen, I'll start with a question that's been asked in the question box, and then we have some people who would like to ask their questions live on air, so if you can keep that succinct, that would be much appreciated. So the first question is from Elizabeth in Austria, who says, I get stressed about attracting men as sexual animals, so I tend to make them buddies, not lovers. Any ideas?
Yeah. Why not make them both? I mean, hi Elizabeth, I'd love to speak to you. What's wrong with both, really? Make them buddies, but don't exclude the sexual aspect, maybe. If that's where you're at the moment, if that feels comfortable to you, be friends with someone, and if you feel an attraction with them, leave that avenue open to them. Why block it? I mean, if they fancy you and you fancy them, there's no need to block it. You just say, be buddies, and then if there's a sexual thing, talk about it. And if it feels right, do it. What the hell? It doesn't matter, does it? And that's your, look, I know, because I know your story. You lost your husband, I think it was not even a year ago, and that's a huge thing to go through. you're healing still. And it's understandable that you wouldn't want to get too intimate with somebody. It might be now, though, that because you asked that question, you're ready for a little bit more. And maybe it's okay, you know, allow yourself to play a bit. As long as both people understand what's involved, you know, that you're not necessarily wanting to be too serious or whatever it is you want. I think that's okay, isn't it? You can be friends with someone and enjoy making love with them too. That's okay. That's my advice anyway.
Okay, I'm going to go first to Julia. Julia, I'm unmuting you now. Hello.
Oh, hi. It's Julia.
Hi, Julia. Hello.
Yeah.
Where are you, Julia?
In Essex, in the UK.
Merry Essex to you. That's nice.
Thank you. No, it's just I've just come out of a relationship, and I've had a couple of relationships. One more long-term, over 7 years, and just recently, sort of 8.5 months. And really, I just find it. I'm 34 years old. I'd really like to settle down. Want to get married, have children. I know really what I want with my life, but it's just I'm finding it really difficult to find a man who wants that. They just, sorry to be generalistic, but they just don't seem to be mature. So
it's true. We're big babies. That's the way it is. Can't lie about that. But you know, there are some people who are compatible with each other, and what we were just doing. If you go into a quiet space on your own whenever you feel the urge to, and you connect with the soul of somebody, you can feel who they are. You can feel the maturity in them. Because if someone's compatible with you and you're both at the same place in your life of kind of wanting that same thing, they'll have the maturity. They just will. They'll summon it up for that occasion, for that the context rather. So I do believe that it's not about you finding someone. It's really about you drawing someone at a soul level, connecting at the soul level, and then they will appear. I've never seen this not work. It works for everyone I've ever done it with. You just have to tune in to the soul of someone. You don't know who they are, but they're out there somewhere on the planet right now, and they're waiting to connect with you, and they will want what you want.
Yeah.
They want the same thing.
So you think I just haven't met the right man? Is that?
No, it's not that you haven't met the right man. You've met a lot of right men for what they were at the time. They were the ones that you needed to go through the lessons you went through with. So they were right. Everyone's right. It's all meant to be. You just haven't met the guy to have the children with yet. And but so saying, the most important thing is to get to the point where you feel so complete being alive, so excited to be on the planet, that whether you have the children and get married or don't fulfill that picture doesn't actually matter. Because if you're depending on that for making you feel okay, you'll find that it won't work. You'll get busy and you'll get like occupied with babies and husbands and all the rest of it. But you'll still have the same feeling of dissatisfaction. So the key is to work on being alive and loving every minute of being on the planet, regardless, because it's an amazing gift. Loving the life you have, and then that will attract naturally people to come and share it, the party with you, come play with you. If you're needing someone to come and give you something you feel you haven't got, it's tricky because people feel an onus already, and then there's a weightedness to it. So in other words, you have your agenda, which is totally cool, and it's biologically natural anyway to want that. But remember, that's all it is. It's just your agenda. If you come back inside yourself like we were doing, keep your heart open and draw the soul of the person who's coming to you. Without the conditions of what you want out of it. Just trust life to bring you who you need. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm saying a lot of things all at the same time here, but
yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
It's just changing your perspective radically. Yes, all that sort of stuff's true. We know that. We honour that, and we're all human. We've got all that stuff. But this, from the deeper level, it's about letting go and trusting life to bring you who you need.
Okay.
And not to fill any gaps. There's no gap. That's just an illusion. You're beautiful and full and magnificent as you are. Draw someone who's also full and magnificent as they are. We'll talk more about it. If you want to email me, feel free to do that. We can talk a bit more about it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Julia. We are out of time now, Stephen.
God, there's some really interesting questions. So look, everybody, thank you so much indeed. I know. I'd love to do an extra session. I don't know when we can't, though, can we? Should go to anything. But look, next week, Magic Your Adventure. This is all about grabbing the adventure by the horns and living it, loving it, and riding it for all it's worth. And I do think it's an interesting and apposite one to do at this time, because that's really the key to it all, isn't it? Loving the adventure and making it amazing. With or without a partner, with or without the money, whatever it is, the adventure is king, really, as far as I can tell. Love the adventure, everything else takes care of itself. Nonetheless, I wish you miracles. I wish you beautiful surprise moments of serendipity of meeting all kinds of lovely people that come into your life, one of whom will be the perfect, compatible lover for you. And all the money that you need to support the whole thing, all the help you need to enjoy it, and the peace of mind and the clarity to value each and every moment to the full. Thank you so much. Please bear with all the interruptions today. It was slightly unavoidable. And I look forward to next time. Do come next week. All my love to you. Bye-bye. Let all pain, suffering be dispelled. Let all pain, suffering